Hare Krishna everyone, and welcome back again to our ongoing lecture series entitled The Glories of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pashtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pastata Deshatarane. So we are continuing with our mini-series on stimulation for ecstatic love, and this will be part 185, in which we continue our present theme of the glories of Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radharani, and specifically continuing with her tears. But before we go on, you may notice I'm wearing a Chinese shirt. I'm in the eastern part of China in the mountains, and recently we visited a Buddhist monastery. And we had some very interesting discussions with the monks there. It was very nice, quite deep actually. And as I was leaving, they offered me this shirt made of pure Chinese silk. It was very kind of them. I was actually touched. And they told me that if I wear this shirt, I'll get the mercy of Lord Buddha. So we know that Lord Buddha is the 9th incarnation of Krishna. And we need as much mercy as we can get. So hoping to get the mercy of Krishna in his form of Lord Buddha, I'm wearing this today to honor those monks' requests. And hope it comes true. I'll get the mercy of Lord Buddha. So, I would like to begin with a special verse today, written by the poet Harisuri Das. This verse was written in the context of the gopis searching for Krishna after he left the famous rasa dance. And as we know from Srimad Bhagavatam, they're searching for him everywhere, and they're praising him and singing his glories, and undoubtedly feeling separation. Some tears are falling down their cheeks. So here is what Harisuri has written. A sincere cry of distress awakens the Lord's mercy in a unique way. Worship, prayers, and other devotional practices certainly please him, but when Krishna saw the gopis weeping in separation, his heart became especially moved. Their tears spoke more powerfully than their words, and his compassion was thus fully awakened. Wow. Now the point is clear here. The gopis' prayers and glorifications were beautiful beyond compare, but it was their tears of separation that most deeply moved Krishna and attracted him. In other words, heartfelt longing and tears of love attract Krishna perhaps more than anything else. And we can only conclude that must be especially true when Vrindavaneshwari Srimati Radharani, the queen of devotion, cries out in separation from Krishna. And Krishna knows all too well the very powerful nature of her tears and her gopis' tears. In Uddhava Sandesh, he says to Uddhava, it's a verse I already quoted a few classes back in this series. If it were not for the crying of Radharani and the other gopis, if they were not always drenched in a flood of tears flowing from their eyes, then all of Vrindavan's trees would have been burned in the great fire of separation from me. From the lotus lips of Krishna. Now I would like to share another prayer by the Brajbasi poet Jagannath Das. In this prayer, he offers beautiful comparisons to the incomparable tears of Sri Radha, if that's the right way to put it. You'll see. He writes, the measure of Sri Radha's tears cannot be compared even to Govardhan Hill, which Krishna effortlessly held aloft for 7 days and 7 nights. Nor can their intensity be measured against the mighty bow of Lord Shiva, which Lord Ramachandra lifted to win the hand of Sita. Neither can they be likened to the great Mount Meru, which served as the churning rod when the demigods and demons churned the ocean of milk. The intensity of Sri Radha's tears is beyond all comparison. Their weight cannot be measured, their depth cannot be fathomed, and their sorrow cannot be contained within words. Therefore, poor Jagannath Das confesses that his insignificant tongue is incapable of describing the immeasurable heaviness of Sri Radha's tears. Hare Krishna. So, today we shall discuss a very beautiful pastime described by Chaturbhuja Das, who, once again, was one of the Astachaps, the 8 poets in the line of Balabhacharya. He writes, one day, Srimati Radharani was sitting in her chambers playing upon her veena. As she played, she began to imitate the sounds of the forest of Vrindavan. One string sounded like the cuckoos. Another echoed the call of the peacocks. One note resembled the roar of a lion, while another carried the sound of a serpent moving through the grass. The deeper notes seemed like the gentle swaying of the great trees of Vrindavan, and the higher notes flowed like the waves of the Jamuna. Such a poet. The poet says that it was as if the entire forest of Braj had entered into her chambers. Now outside, he describes, the birds became silent, the trees stood still, hearing this beautiful music from Srimati Radharani's veena. The creatures of the forest listened carefully, hearing their own voices within the strings of her veena. And as Srimati Radharani played the melody called Vrindavani Saranga, she remembered, she meditated on her loving meetings with Krishna. She could imitate every sound of the forest, but there was one sound she could not recreate. And what's that? She could not play the 5th note of Krishna's flute. The 5th note of Krishna's flute. As we know, Krishna often plays the 5th note of the musical scale to call the gopis or while tending the cows in the forest of Vrindavan. Again and again, Radharani tried to play that note upon her veena, but she couldn't. And as she tried repeatedly, suddenly a string on her veena broke. And with the breaking of that string, her meditation broke as well. And her heart became overwhelmed with separation. She cried aloud, "My life is useless. Those who remain with their beloved have made their lives successful. O Shyam, where are you? Why do you not accept me as an instrument for your pleasure? Why are you no longer before my eyes?" Now hearing her cries, a Vanadevi, means a forest maiden in Vrindavan, appeared in her chambers and said, "O dear Radha, do not lament. The forest of Vrindavan are pleased by the music you have played. Come with me into the forest and search for your beloved there. The vines, flowers, leaves, and trees of Vrindavan fulfill all desires. Whoever glorifies this forest with a pure heart will surely receive the darshan of the dark son of Nanda. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan. The creepers bind him with their love. Come, let us search for him." So, enthusiastically agreeing, Radharani gathered various articles for worshipping Krishna there. Amongst them were a crown, a long flower garland, sandalwood paste, incense, a lamp, and a beautiful peacock feather. Then she left her chambers with the Vanadevi and entered deep into the Vrindavan forest. And as she moved about, sometimes she thought that Krishna might be hiding within the kunjas, the groves of Vrindavan. So she would open their leafy curtains, the poet says. She would open the leafy curtains and look inside, and Krishna wasn't there. Sometimes she thought he was concealed behind bushes. Sometimes she called to him from beneath the kadamba trees, "O Shyam, O Shyam, O Shyam," but no response. So at one point, this particular beautiful Vanadevi showed her a narrow forest path. Now this pathway was very cool and very soft. It's described dense trees blocked the sunlight. Actually, the forest was like a dark cave. So the poet says, only the tears flowing from Srimati Radharani's eyes seemed to illuminate the way. Only the tears flowing from Srimati Radharani's eyes seemed to illuminate the way. And finally, she came to one particular secluded grove. And there, amongst flowering bushes, stood a beautiful tamal tree. Its dark complexion and graceful threefold bending form very much resembled Krishna himself. And we know what it's like when Radharani sees a tamal tree. She remembers Krishna so much. So immediately, her heart filled with joy. And this time, she placed that crown upon the tree. She hung the garland around its trunk, and she decorated it with the peacock feather. Then she marked its stem with tilak. She actually worshipped that tree as if it were Krishna himself. Offering the lamp, she embraced the tree, and she cried, "O beloved of Gokul, O life of my eyes, you are here, and I have been searching for you everywhere. O Lord of my heart, please accept me as your own," while hugging the tree. And as she spoke these words, Sri Krishna, who had been hiding behind the tamal tree, suddenly appeared. And he took Radharani's hand and he embraced her. And as he did so, torrents of tears flowed from her eyes and bathed the transcendental body of Sri Krishna like a shower of divine love. And as Krishna, and this is interesting, played the fifth note upon his flute, Radharani answered with a melody of her own from her veena, a melody of her own from her veena, while the Vanadevis showered flowers from all around. And the poet, Chaturabhuja, he concludes, thus Chaturabhuja Das glorifies the divine couple. Hare Krishna, all glories to the divine tears of Srimati Radharani. I thought you loved that pastime. So once again, we've been discussing, crying tears of love appears as a major theme in Krishna consciousness. A few classes ago, we heard how all the Brajabasis cry at some point in ecstatic love for Krishna, or very often as it is. So it appears as a major theme in Krishna consciousness. But not only a major theme, but the last word, you could say, in Krishna consciousness. Now that I got from Srila Prabhupada himself, the last word in Krishna consciousness. For in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 4, verse 35, he writes as follows. This crying is the last word in the progressive path of devotional service. One who can cry for the Lord in love is certainly successful in the line of devotional service. And I found a beautiful verse in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Krishna Bali Kandile Shri Krishna Nama Mile Dane Kule Kichunahe Krishna Na Bajile. One who weeps when he chants Krishna truly chants Krishna's name. Without Krishna bhajan, wealth and aristocratic birth are worthless. Chaitanya Bhagavat. Now, of course, it's a gradual process. As Srila Prabhupada noted in a lecture on January 1st, 1973, he said, one who will cry for Krishna, he will never come down to the material platform. That crying is not so easy. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu used to cry, he also said, I am crying for make show. So crying automatically comes when we are in Prem Bhakti. Of course, that statement by Mahaprabhu is just humility personified, but crying automatically comes when we come to the stage of Prem Bhakti, Srila Prabhupada said. So we have to go to that stage gradually, not by imitating, but the process is there. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's the Yuga Dharma. So let us practice. Practice makes perfect. Work now, samadhi later. Let us practice chanting Hare Krishna sincerely and pray that one day we too can come to that higher stage and truly please Krishna with our tears of love. There's somewhere there in the heart. And that hope, you could almost say hope against hope, but Krishna is very merciful. In that, with that hope, let us finish with a verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 23:29. It's actually from the mouth of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's also a verse found in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.3.35. O my Lord, I do not have any love for you, nor am I qualified for discharging devotional service by chanting and hearing, nor do I possess the mystic power of a Vaishnava, knowledge, or pious activities, nor do I belong to a very high caste family. On the whole, I do not possess anything. Still, O beloved of the gopis, because you bestow your mercy on the most fallen, I have an unbreakable hope that is constantly in my heart, and that hope is always giving me pain. Hare Krishna. Pain in the sense that, we're hankering to come to that platform. Our heartbeat is, let me one day be Krishna conscious. Please my spiritual master. Please Srila Prabhupada. Please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Please the divine couple. And someday join them in their eternal pastimes in the spiritual world. Hare Krishna. So that's all from now. From Eastern China, I bid you goodbye and hope to see you next week. Shri Gaurani Tai ki, Shri Krishna Balaram ki, Shri Radha Shama Sundar ki, Vrindavaneshwari Shrimati Radharani ki, her tears ki jai, Maya Purnam ki, Gaurani Tai, Shri Krishna Sankirtan Yagya, that's the way, ki jai. Gaur Pimanandi, Jai Jai Sri Radhe Sham. Jai Prabhupada.